What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Now, I know I told you that I was hoping to have a guest on this week. Didn't work out quite as well as I had hoped. My buddy was in town for a concert. I was hoping we were going to be able to pull it off either before the show or that he'd be staying the night and then we could do it the next day. Unfortunately, he had to head back home right after the show, so we weren't able to get things to work out the way I had hoped. Nonetheless, we plan on having him back on or here on the show eventually. Just won't be this week. And so you get to deal with my ass for another week in a row. What is it, like 10 straight weeks of solo podcasts? It's all good because next week is episode 200. And I got a good one lined up. Definitely going to have some guests. We'll find out who's all showing up, but it's going to be a good one. So look forward to that. In the meantime, let's get into this episode. And we'll start it off the way we always start off our episodes, with today's positive motivational message. And it's going to be a simple one this week. It's simply this: breathe. Life can become overwhelming. We can deal with situations that can overwhelm us and stress us out and just put us in a very anxiety-ridden or like overthinking situation. And the best thing you can do is just stop and take a breath. Just breathe. Breathing itself can help calm you down. It can help set your mind straight. It can help just slow things down a little bit. Take time to calm yourself. Breathe. In whatever scenario it may be, high stress situation, maybe just you're becoming overwhelmed with so many things at once. Just stop and breathe. It's the first thing you can do. And then you have time to think, you have time to react, you have time to process. Just take time and breathe. And with that, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. It's episode 199 of Life's a Garden. All right, one final episode in the 100s. This is it. Next week, we move on to the 200s, which is absolutely crazy. The thought of doing 200 episodes of this show. Been at it for almost 4 years now. That's pretty intense. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. And I just want to thank all of you for sticking around, if you've been with me for the long haul. If you're a new listener, I appreciate you no matter what. If you haven't yet, please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, follow on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. It helps, grow this thing. And we're 200 into it. We haven't made a lot of growth. But you know what? That's not what we do it for. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I do it. I do it for fun. I just do it because I enjoy it. And so, coming into 200 episodes, man, it's just really crazy to put it in perspective. And so, I just want to thank all of you for listening and supporting all these years. It really means a lot. And we move into the next chapter. We're on to the next 100 after this. So, pretty exciting time. And yes, I am wearing a Nuggets jersey 2 weeks in a row because my boys, I got to support the boys. Right? I got the Avs hat. I got the Nuggets jersey. They've advanced to the next round of the playoffs, in both respected leagues. Very exciting time to be a Colorado fan. So I got to support. I'm always going to rep their shit. And speaking of which, I got to tell you about my epic Denver trip, okay? So, starts off, first of all, Started off the trip hungover as shit. Before I even ever left, I made a huge mistake, went downtown, closed the bars down, because I'm like, oh, I'm on vacation, right? It's all good. My flight didn't leave till 2 p.m. I'm like, great. I can sleep in. I'll be fine in the morning. All good. Ended up throwing up that night, which I hate. It just makes life hell. Did not sleep very well. Didn't get a lot of sleep. And in the morning, I had to go do a few errands. I had to go pay my credit card bill. I had to pay my credit card. And then I had to get a new debit card because mine was a little roughed up. I didn't want to take a debit card that wasn't going to work for me out of town. So I had to go do that, grab some food. Finally started feeling better right before I was going to leave for the airport. Get taken to the airport. Now, I'm thinking, I'm pretty exhausted, right? I might actually have a chance to just snooze on this plane, which I never do. I have a hard time sleeping on planes. Any, like, cars, planes, I can't sleep in a moving object. And so, I'm thinking, great. I'll be able to sleep on the plane. It'll be like nothing. I'll be there, and we'll be all rested up and good to go. First thing my dumbass does when I get to the airport is order a double espresso coffee, a double shot of espresso coffee, and downed that thing. I was halfway through it, and I was like, wait a second. Didn't I, wasn't I planning on sleeping on the plane? So much for that, I guess. Yeah, didn't sleep a wink. Got there, took the train downtown. First thing I did was exactly what I said I was going to do. Headed to the DNVR bar, which is on East Colfax. Set up shop at the bar top. It was pretty dead when I got there. I was a little worried. The game didn't start till 8, but the NFL draft was also on, so I wasn't sure what to expect. Dude, this place, I'm so glad I got there when I did, because by 7 o'clock, that place was wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder, packed. Before the Nuggets game. God. Sorry, clear my throat. Yeah, for the Nuggets game. And so, I'm watching the draft, and basically by the time the Nuggets game came on, the Broncos had already drafted. And I was correct. I was down there for us to draft, hopefully, our future franchise quarterback, whose name is Bo Nix. And I called it last week. I said Bo Nix was a possibility. There was a lot of options on the table. And we ended up going with a quarterback from Oregon. And I think it's a good pick. I've seen a lot of negativity about it. I've seen a lot of people questioning whether or not it was a good pick. I think between George Payton and Sean Payton, I think they wouldn't have drafted him if they didn't think he was the right guy. I said it last week. We would have moved back in the draft, got some compensation, or we would have just drafted the best player available that wasn't a quarterback if we didn't think he was going to be the guy. Only time will tell. I think he'll probably end up being the starter based on the fact that, who else? Really, who else? Just why not start him now? And I guess you could go with the logic of you could just let him kind of ease him into the league. That'd be all right too, I guess. Start Zach Wilson. We just traded for him. Might as well get some miles off of him. And if he's not playing well, throw Nix in there. Nix is 24 coming out of college. He's played like 5 years of college ball because of the COVID year. Yeah, I think he's got the experience. He's got the talent. There's a lot to say. There's a lot analytically about him that I think makes him a good choice for us. It's a good matchup for us. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see. I mean, if he ends up being a stud, it's pretty cool to say that I was down in Denver when we drafted him. As far as the rest of the draft throughout the weekend, there weren't any other big ones for the Broncos. As far as the quarterbacks go, Caleb Williams ended up going to the Bears, which was predicted. Jaden Daniels to the Commanders, predicted. What's his name? Drake May to the Patriots, predicted. The one that shocked the world, that shocked everybody, Michael Penix Jr. going number 8 overall to the Atlanta Falcons, who just signed Kirk Cousins to a 3-year, like $80 million deal. So that was kind of confusing to see that. I don't really understand it either because Michael Penix is 24 years old as well. So by the time he even starts, he'll be 26 or 27. So I don't understand that move at all. I guess you're just looking towards the future, maybe. He's got injury issues. It just didn't make sense for them at that moment to draft a quarterback. It is what it is. I guess we'll see. Maybe they know something we don't. J.J. McCarthy goes to the Vikings, which was predicted. And then we end up with Bo Nix, who was the last quarterback taken out of the top 6 quarterbacks. And so hopefully he's the one that shines. I'm very hopeful. But anyway, I'm at the DNVR bar, it's so cool. It's so cool to watch a game surrounded by a group of fans that share the same sentiment. When you're in that, when you're at a live game, it's always awesome, you know. Same reason, you're surrounded by people who are like-minded, who love the same team. But to be at a bar too, with everybody in the bar rooting for the same team, you start doing the chants, everybody cheers at the same time, something big happens, everybody's out of their seats. It was pretty awesome. And the Nuggets beat the Lakers that night, end up going on to finish them through the series, which is awesome. I love it. I've never been a Lakers fan. I've always absolutely despised the Lakers. The Lakers have always had the Nuggets number. And now we got their number. So all this stuff about LeBron James possibly retiring, or all this stuff about him maybe leaving the Lakers, leave it be. Like, it is what it is. I have a huge, tremendous amount of respect for LeBron James. I've never really liked the dude, only because he's always been a thorn in my team side. I'm a diehard. I am, unless he's wearing a Nuggets jersey, I don't really give a fuck about him. Like, I think he whines a lot, yeah. I think a lot of players do, so it's not really much, it's nothing new for him to be doing that. I think he flops a lot. There's a lot of negative things that I can say about LeBron, but overall, still one of the greatest players of all time. Still one of the most dominant athletes of all time. Nonetheless, if this was his last run, which I don't think it is, there's no way he wants to go out like this. He doesn't want to go out with the Nuggets just absolutely dominating, because then that will always be the sentiment. That he could never beat the Nuggets. Or at least couldn't beat them in his last days. They're going to draft Bronny James. They're going to draft his son, and it's going to be terrible. And, there's who knows? They're going to get a new head coach. I guarantee you that. Surprised Darvin Ham has not been fired yet. He made 0 adjustments in that series. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Nuggets, right? We're going to play the Wolves in this next series. And it should pose a bigger problem than the Lakers. However, the Lakers outscored us in the first half of every single game in this series. And we still won 4-1. I had a feeling we weren't going to sweep. That's really tough to do. Especially 2 years in a row against the same team. So I expected to lose at least a game, which, that's how it happened. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, we're playing the Timberwolves, who just swept the Suns, and they look damn good, right? And they're the number 1 defensive team in the league. We did beat them 3-1 in the regular season. And 3 of those games happened at the backstretch of the season. So, everybody's telling me, oh, you're fucked. The Wolves are on fire. The Wolves are going to have your number. They're going to beat your ass. It's either going to be a sweep or 4-1. Dude, you're talking about the defending champs here, man. We got home court advantage. We got 5 days rest until the first game. I'm going to go out and make my prediction, okay? I do think this will be a tougher challenge than the Lakers for different reasons. I think we're going to look a lot better than we did against the Lakers. Now, I'm going to give them a little bit more. I'm going to give the Wolves some credit here. They're young, but they are feisty. They're talented. I'm going to predict that Nuggets beat them in 6. I'll give them 6. It could go 7. I don't see it being less than 6, though. 6 or 7. And I think the Nuggets take it. That's just how I see it. I mean, of course, I'm going to be biased and I'm going to choose the Nuggets. But here's the real thing, okay? Lakers played damn good ball. They played their best ball they could have against us. We still beat them. We did not play our best ball in every game. We played pretty well, but I think we can do better. In addition to that, I don't think the Suns are as good as people thought they were. Yeah, they got Kevin Durant. Yeah, they got Devin Booker. Yeah, they got Bradley Beal. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant at times, Bradley Beal for sure, are very inconsistent. And who else do they have? They really don't have anybody else. They don't have a bench. They don't have depth. Nurkic is not the big guy that DeAndre Ayton was. He's not quite the force that DeAndre Ayton was. Their defense is almost non-existent. And if 2 out of those 3 dudes aren't all fired up, plus you've got to have some role players going, then they're nothing. And that's exactly what happened. I think the Suns, throughout the season and in these playoffs, proved that whatever they tried to do with the Bradley Beal experiment failed miserably. I thought Frank Vogel was one of the most overrated head coaches going into this. And so for that, I think the Suns made the Wolves look a lot better than we're going to make them look. I'm not taking anything away from the Wolves. I think they're going to be a tough team. It's going to be a great series. But I got the Nugs in 6. That's my prediction. Anyway, so ended up watching the game. It was a great time. Shout out to the DNVR bar. Had an awesome time. Ended up just getting an Uber and going to meet up with my cousin. We didn't go out that night. I pretty much had gotten my fill of going out. Plus, I was still so tired from the night before. So we ended up just crashing. So I stayed at my cousin's house the whole time. Now, let me tell you right now. My cousin, he's a single guy. He lives by himself. He's very independent, does his own thing. And so for that reason, doesn't really have a big place. He's got a studio apartment, and it's a little rundown. It's a little ratchety. He knows it, and it doesn't bother me, okay? I'm a little bit of a neat freak. I'm a little bit of a clean freak, but I grew up in a mess. You know, my life was a mess growing up, and I got plenty of friends that are messy guys. So it doesn't bother me. But, you know, he even told me, he's like, yeah, this is a lot cleaner than it was before you got here. And it was pretty fucking, you know, cluttery. He's got all kinds of comic books, so he's kind of a hoarder in that sense. But he just, you know, clothes strewn about. It's a single guy's apartment. But like I said, it's a studio apartment, so his bed is just right there. I got to sleep on his couch, which is actually a futon, and it's broken. So uncomfortable as all get out. The only night I slept decent was the second night. I slept shit the first night, and I slept shit the last night. Nonetheless, very thankful to him to have me stay there, save me about probably $400. And I'm not gonna lie, after that first night, I was like, fuck, dude, do I need to get a hotel? Because I think I need a bed to sleep in. But I shook that off, and it was all good. Now, day 2, being in Denver. This is the day of the show. We pretty much just kick it all day. We're just chilling at his place, watching movies and stuff, up until the time we got to go down and go to the concert. So we head downtown. We hop on this bus. My cousin chartered a bus. It's like something you just pay $50 for. It's a nice, like, luxury liner bus. Just drives you out to Red Rocks, and then they stay out there, and you just hop on the bus when the show's over. Very convenient. Very cool. So we get on the bus. We head down there. Now, I don't know what the fuck was going on with Red Rock security this day. The show was supposed to open at 6:30, right? The line, there's multiple lines, right? As there's the down entrance, and then there's a couple of entrances up top. Whatever the fuck was going on, they didn't even open the gate until 7 o'clock. It might even been like 5 after 7. So we're standing in the line. You know, it's a long-ass fucking line. And even my cousin was like, this is like very peculiar how they're doing this line setup. He said, one should be going this way, one should be... Like, whatever the normal setup is, they weren't doing that. Show starts at 8 o'clock. Now, the entire time we're standing in this line, it's raining. Not downpouring, but it's sprinkling pretty good. And the wind's whipping a little bit. It's a little chilly out there. But because this line is slowly crawling at a snail's pace, we're getting pretty wet. Because the rain's slowly drizzling down on us. Finally, we get to the top of the stairs, and we're through security. As we go through security, the security lady goes, "Oh, stop! We can't let any more people in just yet. We just got a notification that there's lightning in the area. We can't let anybody else in, so we're just gonna have to hang tight until we get the word that you can come in." Now I'm thinking, okay, we're through security already. You could easily just scan our tickets, and we could be on our way. Instead, you want us to stand here next to all these metal railings in a lightning storm. What sense does that make? Why not just keep people coming in so they can seek shelter? Oh no, that doesn't make any sense. In addition to that, after they say, stay right here, we'll let you know when you can come back in, starts downpouring. Fully drenched. Me and my cousin. And my cousin decided it was a smart idea to wear sandals with socks that day. So, finally they let us in. We get in. I grab a couple beers. I got him a poncho to wear. I brought myself one too, but I could not figure out how to get the fucker on, so I never even used it. We run down, we find our seats, had pretty damn good seats. Right as we get to our seats, show starts. Now, my cousin looked on the Reddit page after the show. Apparently there was a fuck ton of people who didn't even get through the security line until like halfway through the show. Do you understand how absolutely raging pissed I would have been for the amount of money I spent on those tickets? And for how much I love and have been dying to see Maynard James Keenan again, I would have absolutely thrown a bitch fit if that line would have taken that long. Oh my God, I would have been fuming. Thank God we didn't have to deal with it. So we're chilling watching the show. Now the way it starts, it opens up with a perfect circle. They play about 4 songs. Then Primus comes out. They play 4 songs. Pussifer comes out. They play 4 songs. And then they would do like a little, like, quick, like, it was like Act 2, and then they did like a little skit on the Jumbotrons. And then they just kind of mix and matched and did all kinds of different sets. And they played all my favorite songs, dude. Between Pussifer and even Primus. Like, I'm not a huge Primus fan, but they played a lot of my favorite songs that I know of Primus. Some of the songs, like Maynard would sing on with Primus, and then, some of the songs, there was 2 drummers playing at the same time. It was epic, man. The light show, the way the lights was fucking amazing. But overall, just, I'm standing here in one of the most beautiful arenas on earth. One of the greatest sounding arenas on earth. It's sprinkling rain still. I mean, at this point, I fully embraced the rain. I'm like, I can't really get any wetter, right? So I'm not going to let this ruin my day. There was a point when my foot just started absolutely cramping up. That kind of sucked. And there were a couple times I was like, fuck, man, we might have to leave early. I'm like dying out here. But there was no way. There was no way I was missing this show. And I'm standing here, like I said, in one of my favorites, in my favorite city on earth, my home away from home at least, in one of the most beautiful arenas, and I'm watching one of my musical idols. And I'm just soaking this moment in. And it truly felt like an outer body experience. At one point, I was just sitting there with rain coming down, and I'm fully engaged. And I'm listening to Maynard's voice and how just fucking, I'm not going to say perfect. I'm not going to like sit here and suck his dick on it. But I'm just like, this is a guy that I've really modeled a lot of what I do after. And a guy that I respect and have great admiration for. Like I said, a musical idol. And I'm just like, hearing his voice live. And it's like, it was a very almost spiritual experience. So, just can't say enough about that show. It was absolutely epic. Toward the end, they played 3 brand new songs that all 3 bands had collaborated on, which was really, really cool. And then they all closed the show together with one song by Pussifer, but they all were playing. So 3 drum sets at the same time, all the instruments going, fucking amazing. I only got a few pictures because they said no photos, no videos until the very end. They let you do it at the last song. And I wasn't going to be the one that got kicked out for pulling my phone out and missed Maynard. So I was just like, fuck it. Phone staying right here in my pocket, which was almost even better because it forces you to be engaged. And the only thing I could have said that might have been better is the weather. The weather could have, if the weather would have shaped up, it would have been a perfect show. Nonetheless, still, it got to go in my top 5 all-time greatest shows I've ever seen. And just the experience itself. I've never experienced a show like that. It was like an event, right? The way they had done it. So, I actually really like it that way. Because then you're not getting all of one band, then all of another band, and then all of the last band. You're getting just a little bit of each of them. It's like, okay, it keeps it fresh. It was like 3 hours of straight music. There was never like a lull. It was so cool. So very, very honored and appreciate and just privileged to be a part of that and have gotten to see that. So that was just epic. So then so we get back on the bus. Now here's a funny story for you. We get back on the bus, and we're driving. Now, one thing I missed to tell you: first time we got on the bus, okay, this girl comes on. She's got to be like about my age, like late 20s, early 30s, and she's all bubbly and like she kind of gave that like hippie vibe. Like, comes on the bus and is just like, "What's up, everybody? Y'all excited to have some fun tonight? We're gonna have a good time." And like, that in and of itself is fine. I don't mind that. Cool. High energy. You're having fun. Whatever. Doesn't bother me. Now, while we're driving the entire way up to Red Rocks, she's just yap, talking to everybody, talking to anybody. Just talking to talk. Okay? And like, at a tone that is like very registerable. It's like the whole bus can hear you. So when we get to leave, she hops on that same bus. Now, the only reason I say that is because there were 3 buses. So I'm thinking we got a 1 in 3 shot that she gets on the same bus. Sure as shit, there she was. She hops on the bus with us. And I'm just like, fuck me. I'm wet. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to go home. Like, I don't need to deal with this shit. Luckily, I had my headphones on me, because right away, same thing. what a great show. Oh my God, it was beautiful. The rain and blah, blah, blah. And then she sits down and she starts just singing. I have zero patience for people who have no, conscious respect for the people around them. It's like, have a little bit of self-awareness. We're all trapped in this bus together. We're not we're a captive audience to you now. This is not what I signed up for. Shut the fuck up and just be with your thoughts or speak quietly to the people around you. It's fine to be like, oh, what'd you think of this? And to reminisce about the show. That's fine. But you don't got to do it where the whole fucking bus can hear you. So I threw my headphones in. And I told my cousin, I was like, dude, I got to tune this out because it's going to drive me up a fucking wall. I have zero tolerance for that. We drive all the way down this hill, right? It's a long stretch from the interstate to, well, it's not the interstate, but from the on point to get up to Red Rocks. It's a long drive. It's probably a good 5-minute drive if you're going a decent speed. We get all the way to the bottom. Bus driver has to pull over to the side and turn his hazards on because everybody's wet. So all the windows are fogging up. So he could barely see out the window. So he had to get out and open the door and let it kind of air out just for a second because the bus wasn't ready to take all that on. This chick gets up and she walks up to and I was like, what is this dumb bitch going to say? What's she going to say to the bus driver? And I was not prepared for what she was about to say. She goes, I have to get off the bus. I left my bag at the tree. And then she just gets off the bus. He's like, are you sure? She's like, I left my bag at the tree. I have to get off. I mean, I don't know what she had in that bag, but it must have been pretty damn important because she was going to have to walk all the way up that fucking hill again. Hopefully not get hit by a car. By the time she got there, the venue is going to be closed, so they're not going to have your bag. And then you got to try and get a ride back to town. What? That was the most absolutely crazy thing. And let me just say this. Good. That's what you get for being disrespectful to people's space, for being inconsiderate. And I think the whole bus had a collective sigh of relief when she actually did get off. I was like, dude, thank you. This is the Lord doing his good work for us. Got some of that good karma coming back. Tell you right now. So anyway, we get back into town, get back into Denver, and my cousin's like, well, do you want to go out again? You want to stay out? And I'm like, bro, all I want to do is go home and change into some dry clothes, and let's just chill and watch a movie and order a pizza. I'm cool with that. Red Rocks and wet socks. That's what we were dealing with. Red Rocks, wet socks, and hard cocks. That's what it was. And so I was just like, dude, let's just call it a night. I'm good with that. Because as I told you guys last week, I was on a bender for a while there. Now, did I drink while I was in Denver? Every single day. Of course. Did I get drunk once? Not really. I maybe caught a buzz one time. So I toned down my drinking while I was there. I was fine just chilling. I needed it. So we just chilled. We watched some Adam Sandler movies and ate some pizza and crashed. That was the night I slept pretty good. Next day, again, we just hung out. Now my cousin, notorious drunk. Not a drunk, but drinker. He liked to go out and party. He liked to drink. He liked to have a good time. That's pretty much what we've always done. Cuzzy fucking decided to go sober. He's been sober since December, and he said he's done. No more booze. He's done drinking for health reasons, just because it makes him feel better, because he had some health issues with his foot, that the alcohol would flame up his foot. So it's just he chose to do what was best for him, and he don't drink no more. And what I got to say to that is fucking congrats, brother. And I told him that to his face. I was like, dude, that's amazing. That's incredible. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you made that choice. It's a very tough choice to make when you've been drinking for fucking 30 years, you know? And drinking hard. Like, that motherfucker could put some tooth away. He could put the fucking alcohol down. So, congrats to him on making that huge life decision. I hope it only benefits him in the long run. And so we really didn't go out that much. We just decided to keep it chill. We just went out and watched the Nuggets game. They lost to the Lakers. Then we ended up going to 1UP, which is an arcade bar. Played some pinball. Played some video games. And then we went back and just kicked it again. That might have been the night I got the most drunk. I had a good buzz going that night. And then the last day, I woke up early and went to the Nuggets, or not the Nuggets game, the Avalanche game. He was still snoozing. He sleeps in late, so I got up, I got my shit all packed up, and I was out the door. Now, the day before, I had checked to see if Ball Arena, which is where the Avs play, had a storage locker that I could put my bag in, because that was my biggest stressor. I'm like, because Gabriel, he would have gone to the game with me, but he had to work that day. And so I wasn't going to be able to go back to his house to get my bag. I was going to have to take it to the game. Or make him take it to his work, and I'd go pick it up at his work afterwards, because he works right downtown. And I didn't want to burden him with that. So I looked up to see if Ball Arena had like a storage locker that I could put my bag in while I was watching the game. Whatever website I looked on said they could. But for some reason, the next morning, I thought to myself, you know, I better double check that. So I go on the official website, because I kind of thought this one looks a little weird. This doesn't look like an official site. So I went on the official website. Sure as shit, plain as day, in bold lettering says, no bags allowed, and we do not have storage units that you can put, like, we don't have storage lockers or nothing like that you can put them in. So I'm like, thank God I looked that up. Now what the fuck am I going to do with this bag? So I start looking on, like, if there's anywhere downtown, or like, anywhere that I can actually, like, put my bag and pay a fee or whatever. Turns out, Union Station, right downtown, where I have to get on the train to go to the airport, has storage lockers. Brilliant! I take an Uber to Union Station, drop my bag off, $10 for the day. Fucking no problem. Take it. Beautiful. I grab a day pass, get on the train, which takes me straight to the stadium. Hung out at Brooklyn's, had a couple of pre-gamers, had some food, go to the game. I am 2 rows from the glass, okay? I'm 2 rows from the glass. I'm right in front of the, it's actually, what I don't know what you call it in hockey terms. It's the goal side that we're defending in the first period and the second period. Or sorry, the first period and the third period. So we're only going to be attacking that goal in the second period. So I'm like, well, that kind of sucks if we score any goals. You know, I'll only get one shot to actually see it up close. Hopefully they score something in the second period. But either way, I was just so excited to be there. I wouldn't by myself, right? Because at games like this, when you're, like I said before, when you're around people that are a fan of the same team, you can easily make friends very fast. And I did. Made a lot of friends. You know, just chilling. I made some friends from the Jets. It was great. And guess what? Period 2 rolls around. They made 3 motherfucking goals right there. At one point, I pulled out my phone to take a picture because they were doing a face-off down low. I'm like, okay, like I'll take a picture of that. Ended up recording, and I was just like, oh, well, I might as well just record it while we're in this zone. And we scored. I didn't even notice we scored because I'm looking at my phone. Everybody stands up. I'm like, oh shit, we scored. It was crazy. And then Cale Makar, whose jersey I have, he scores on that goal, or on that side. It was It was perfect. Avalanche won 5-1, and then next couple days they went on to finish out the series. But a great game to be a part of. Valerie Nichushkin ends up getting a hat trick, and I may have been a fool and not thrown my hat onto the ice. I probably should have. I'll probably regret it. But I just bought this motherfucker. I just bought this hat. My other hat I've had for like 4 years, and I didn't want to part with that. So I did not throw my hat on the ice. But I'm in the background of a lot of pictures, which is cool. You can see me. There's one where I'm standing up holding up my Coors Light. It was a good time. Now, after the game, I go back over to Brooklyn's because I'm thinking the train's going to be crazy packed with all these fans. Let me just go have a couple beers, hang out, and then I'll hop on the train back downtown, grab my bag, and go say bye to my cousin because I want to stop by his work to say goodbye to him, which is I did all that. That's exactly how it went. It worked out perfectly too because I had to charge my phone or else I wasn't going to have my boarding pass. Charged my phone at my cousin's work, had a couple beers there. Now my plan was to get on the train at 5 o'clock. Okay? I figured that would give me enough time to get to the airport, get through security, and then do all that, you know? I lollygagged around a little too long. I didn't hit the train till 5:45, which put me at the airport at 6:20. My flight was set to board at 6:45. So I'm running up the escalator to security. And what do I see to my wondering eyes? The longest motherfucking line I'd seen since Red Rocks. And guess what? It was moving about as fast as the line from Red Rocks. So I'm just at the beginning, and I got my tunes in. I'm just listening to music, just like, I'm like, I gotta keep this shit in or I'm gonna lose my fucking brain. At first, the line's moving at a decent pace, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, trying to like figure out the timing wise. Plane won't depart until 7:20. I'm in group 5. I probably won't even get boarded until about 7. So I got about 40 minutes here. And I'm just like running all the scenarios through my head, like what has to happen. Luckily, I've been to DIA plenty of times, so I know how to actually get around there. So I'm like running the scenarios through my head. And, you know, we're weaving through the line back and forth, and the longer it's taking, I'm just thinking to myself, dude, I'm gonna absolutely fucking miss my flight. Like there's no possible scenario that I can make this flight. And so I'm about 2 lines away from the security when I get the alert on my phone, your plane is ready to board. And here I'm just like, dude, there's fucking no chance. There's no chance I'm gonna make it. Like, absolutely not. And so, you know, all I can do is breathe, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get through security. I'm going to do my best to get to the gate. And if it's not there, I guess I got to wait for a fucking standby flight or something. I'm like, I guess I'm spending the night in the hotel or in the airport. So I get up to, finally we get up to security. They opened up a couple extra lanes, which I'm like, thank God, that probably saved me some time. And I was like, I told the guy ahead of me, I was like, dude, I'm going to be late for my flight. Do you mind if I step ahead of you? I told that to like 3 or 4 people, which they kindly let me skip ahead of them. And I was dead certain there's no chance. You know, my shit's coming out of the conveyor belt. It's going, oh, here it comes. Oh, nope, never mind. Oh, here it comes. Nope, never mind. I'm like, give me my fucking stuff! I didn't actually yell. I probably would have got kicked out. So I grab my bag, throw my bag on, throw my shoes on. I got my hat. It's full of all my shit. I'm just running at this point. I'm throwing stuff in my pockets as I'm running. Book it down the stairs. I got to hop on the train to take me to Terminal A. Thankfully, it was Terminal A because then that's just one stop. I get off the train. I'm fully sprinting up the escalators. I get to the terminal. I look, where's my gate at? I'm in A24. I look there, it's that way. And I'm fully sprinting, okay? With a full backpack on. And I don't know if you noticed me at all, but I'm not exactly the picture of athleticism here. If you remember right, I just told you I was on like a 20 plus day drinking bender. Haven't worked out probably since February or January. Hell, maybe even last year. I don't remember the last time I fucking worked out. I certainly haven't done cardio. I don't do cardio. So I'm in a full sprint through the terminal. It starts at 40. And I got to get to 24. And if you've never been to DIA, I don't know, there's like maybe 10 per, I don't know. Maybe even less. Maybe like 8. 8 gates per, like, stretch. Then you got to run through this stretch of, like, restaurants and shops and all that. At one point, I did have to, like, stop and as I'm walking still. And also, by the way, should add this, gotta pee my pants so bad. Like, I have got a full tank. And so then I'm thinking, God, you gotta make this flight, bro. You don't want to miss it. So I start sprinting again. I'm going. I get to the gate, and nobody's there. I'm looking where my gate's supposed to be. There's no people. There's no people checking for tickets. There's no plane. I don't see a plane. I'm looking out the window, and there's no plane. Because I'm counting them, right? I'm like, okay, this should be 24. There's nothing. Nothing happening. And I'm like, fuck. All right, well, I tried my best. I knew this was going to happen. I missed my flight. And even still, I'm thinking, it's definitely not 7:20 yet. So, but maybe they like are on the jetway or something like that. So I turn and I see these two girls. They're standing behind a desk, and I'm like, at a different gate, and I'm like, I guess I got to go ask these girls what I got to do. Like, what do I do now? I got to get on a standby flight. And I look up and I see Billings. And I audibly go, holy shit! And they look up, and I go running. I go, like, speed walking at this point because my legs are burning. I speed walk up to them. I'm like, am I too late? And they're like, oh, no, you're just in time. And I go, oh, thank God. Scan my ticket. I'm on the plane. Sit down, and I'm just fully sweating. By the way, still wearing my Avs jersey from the game. Fully sweating, panting. The first thing I got to do is pop a Zinni in, and I'm thinking, somebody get me a fucking beer. I need a beer now. But first things first, I gotta pee. I had to wait till the fucking plane was at cruising altitude to get up and take a piss. By the way, I had about 10 minutes to spare. Now, would I have changed the way I acted and not ran? Absolutely not. The running was very necessary. But yeah, I wasn't even the last person on that plane. So kudos to me. And kudos to everybody who allowed me to go ahead of them in the line. That was fucking very nice of them. And I honest to God, can't believe I made that flight. There was so many times in that security line that I was like, there's no way. There's zero chance. Like, my certainty was at a 0. But all I did, I stopped and breathed. I listened to my tunes. And I just made a game plan. I executed the game plan. And we got it done. So, that's what I say, breathe. That's why I say breathe. Just stop and breathe. It clears your mind. It gets your whole shit together. So, and then come back home. Fucking 2 days later, go to another concert, which was really cool. Went and saw Death Clock here in Billings at the Metra. It was Death Clock, Dragon Force, and Necrogoblicon, which is hilarious because that is one of my cousin Gabriel's all-time favorite bands. So I go down and see a couple of my all-time favorite bands with him, and then come back here and see his all-time favorite, one of his all-time favorite bands. It was pretty cool. Pretty, like, small world type thing. And the best part about this show is I got to see it with two of my longest best friends. My buddy Kyle, who was supposed to be, who's the one I wanted to have on the show, and my buddy Eric, who's been on here many times. We were high school buddies. That was the crew in high school. And it's almost, like, when we look back, it's absolutely insane how much we watched and loved the show Metalocalypse, which is what the band Death Clock is from. Now, first of all, Necrogoblicon, not quite my style of music, but it was entertaining. It was fun. It was funny. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. Dragon Force crushed. Dragon Force had a great show. Their performance-wise was amazing, and they sounded great. So, huge thumbs up to Dragon Force. I'd seen them before. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. Monday, so the show was on Tuesday. Monday, I went out because I was like, fuck, I want to go out and hang out. Oh, because the Nuggets game was on. Game 5 where we sealed the deal was on Monday. So I went and watched that, and then I get a text from somebody at the Crystal, and they're like, hey, Dragon Force is here. So I book it over to the Crystal. I'm just like, cash me out. I head over to the Crystal. I'm finishing the game here. I met the lead guitar player from Dragon Force, Herman Lee. If you don't know who Dragon Force is, Through the Fire and the Flames, Guitar Hero 3. That's all you need to know. And yeah, I met the guy, and I played it so goddamn cool. You'd think I'd been there before. You gotta act like you've been there before. One of my buddies is like, dude, can you take a picture of me and him? And so I take a picture of them, give him back his phone, and I just look at Herman Lee, and I just say, hey man, nice to meet you. Shook his hand. I was like, I saw you guys back in 2008 when you were playing. It was it 2008? Yeah, it would have been like 2008 or 2009. I was like, yeah, it was around 2008, 2009 in Denver at Fiddler's Green for Monster Mayhem Festival. You guys killed it. And I kind of just had like a brief conversation. It was awesome. They killed it. Oh, and by the way, I also met 2 other members of the band. Didn't realize that. I didn't really ask. It was probably my fault. I should have asked who else was in the band. Because I knew a lot of them were stage crew. So I thought maybe it was just him and then a bunch of stage crew. Yeah, I met 2 other a bass player and a guitar player from the band. And they were rad. Dude, the one guy was so fucked up the night before. I was like, how is he playing right now? Yeah, he got pretty messed up. But it was cool. I got to hang out with Dragon Force the night before. And then went and saw him. And then Death Clock, man. Fucking awesome. It was like as good of as you would ever expect to see Death Clock. It was weird. They had it all backlit. So you could only see like their silhouettes. Because they have a big screen and it shows the cartoon that the band is based on. And the synchronicity from the band playing on stage to the cartoons on screen was unbelievable. Do you know how hard that would be to synchronize that like that? It was incredible. So, kudos to who did that. And the drummer, bro, that drummer must have calves the size of my torso. Because it's just double bass the whole time. Just and they played boom, boom, boom. They didn't stop. They had a couple of breaks. Like, I think they had 3 breaks total throughout the whole set. And they probably played about 15 songs. And the whole time the was just unbelievable. That drummer is a fucking maniac. So that was my whole weekend. My whole vacation week in a nutshell. And it was cool. It was just very nostalgic, very cool to get to see that band with 2 of my high school buddies. That was what we did. Plus Aaron was there and his girlfriend Sarah. That was rad that I got to be with. So I got to see a show with my cousin Gabriel, and I got to see a show with my cousin Aaron and my 2 of my best friends. That's beautiful. That's such life being beautiful. Because Gabriel and Aaron were very inspirational to me when it comes to my music taste. It's I don't really have a word to describe it. It's beautiful. It's just life being beautiful and giving good things and making good things happen. And I love moments like that. And I love when things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. Like I said, I get to go to Denver and see my musical idol with the guy that introduced me to that musician in one of the most beautiful venues in one of my favorite cities. I get to go to a hockey game. I get to see my Nuggets win. Both teams advance. I come home. I get to hang out with my buddies and watch a band that we nostalgized over with my other cousin who was a huge inspiration on me musically. Like how all my favorite things. Sports, music, family, friends, all of my favorite things. Right after I just got done dealing with some real mental health issues and dealing with real stress and anxiety and just not good shit, I have a perfect weekend like that. I mean, that's life being beautiful. And let me tell you something. I fucking dig it. And that's what it's all about, man. It's all about stopping. Life can get stressful, as I mentioned. I went through a whole stressful time there for a long time, like a good month. You know, it was stressful. It was different. My routine was thrown off. And then you just stop. You let it pass. You take a breath and you move forward. And then I end up having an amazing fucking weekend where all my favorite things are happening, all good things, and life's beautiful again. You just stop and take that breath, take in the fresh air, move forward. And you'd be surprised what life will throw at you. So, I think that wraps us up this week. I think that's a beautiful way to put a nice bow on top of this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this episode speaks to you in some way, shape, or form. And just enjoy that life being beautiful to you, man. It's as much as I can say. And just, if there's anything to take away from this episode, really, it's get to the fucking airport early. Okay? Because I'll never do that shit again. That was some real stress. Get to the goddamn airport early. Especially DIA. Ugh. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week because it's going to be episode 200 next week, baby. Looking forward to it. You have a great week. I will see you next time. But until then, keep in mind that life's a garden. Dig it. Just gotta